The goal is to bring you your next favorite band.
That intro is my new favorite band. That's phenomenal. I'm so excited to be on.
Yeah. I heard a rumor that you might be able to play that song live today.
You heard correctly. Yes.
So.
Good enough for rapping.
I don't know when I rock out here on your next favorite band show.
And listen, it's going to be everybody's favorite band.
Like, Phil, you weren't supposed to make me get all... God almighty,
But this
Phil.
is why we do it.
Like, seriously. I gotta gather myself. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Welcome to your next favorite band. That's both the show title and our promise to you. We here at Stereophilia Studio are tireless in our pursuit of finding incredible, genre-defiant artists who are either a hot, up-and-coming band or a group that has been delivering for years but have flown under the radar.
Tonight, we have internationally renowned cuatrista, singer, educator, and Emmy-nominated composer, Fabiola Méndez.
Each month, we will bring you live streams, audio podcasts, and perhaps even a live concert where you can listen to the stories and hear the music of artists personally curated by us based on what we feel will be worthy of your time. Be sure to subscribe and tune in to each episode because the possibilities are endless and you never know who will be your next favorite band.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am your host, Philip Reese, joined here by guest co-host
Marilyn Shields.
And you are
nice
listening to your next favorite band. Nice to see you as well.
Nice to see you. It's good to be back in your presence. I was thinking as the intro was playing, I was here at like the very beginning before this.
That's exactly right. Yes, that's so true. In fact, it was pre the iteration of this. It was when it was part of George Wacker's Lehigh Valley with Love.
Yes.
And we did some Lehigh Valley with Love music episodes, and then it morphed into this. So always give mad props to George for kicking me off on this journey.
Yeah, first time, long time. Yeah. Except for it's not my first time. I guess it's more like the second or third.
Sure,
something
absolutely.
Like that.
But this was like such a perfect, opportunity to kind of bring you on and catch up with you, and then have you kind of like go on this journey with Fabiola Méndez together. Like, oh my gosh, what a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to speak with somebody who's just so extremely talented. I can't believe I'm kind of pinching myself. I've been on such a run here of like, I mean, I've obviously loved everybody I've ever had bring on the show, but there's always people who I'm like, they'll never say yes to me, but I ask anyway, and then they say yes, and I'm just like, whoa,
really? Yes, exactly.
There's always a really, like, wow, okay, let's go.
I do that all the time. I do that even with invitations for a cookout. Me? Really? Sure. Okay.
Oh, that's awesome. But how are you? How are things?
Busy, busy, busy. So work is just never ending. And in my current role, I'm the executive director for this Pennsylvania Commission for Fairness and Justice. And we just had our quarterly meeting on Friday. It's my third quarterly meeting. Wow. So it's third quarterly meeting in September.
And I would say, I don't mean to seem hyperbolic, but is it more important now than ever kind of moment in time, or is it something else?
No, it's very cliche to say it, but there is a now more than ever sort of piece to everything that we're doing. So every executive order means what are we doing here in Pennsylvania to let people know what hasn't really changed and how are we communicating. So it does feel more vital and more important, and
community probably
stressful.
Needs to feel it presence too. Like I bet there needs to be a moment of at least there's an attempt at balance.
Trying, but it's I use this picture of an ant pushing a rock up a hill frequently with the commissioners, and I say, has anyone ever heard of Sisyphus?
Sisyphean, yeah.
It's a very Sisyphean sort of thing, but it's well worth the time and effort, and I've never been sorry for any of the time I've spent on this. So it's a wonderful thing. Yes.
Absolutely. No, thank you for doing all that you do, and hopefully there's another run for office in the future. You'll always have my vote, that's for sure. I still have my Marilyn Shields for Judge T-shirt that I probably should have worn on the episode today.
You could have. I should have. I have the shirts too. I never pull them out, but I did not throw them away.
Yep. No, I still have mine for the next run. I did wear El Hiri because we are
El Hiri, yes.
going down the Latin route here, and wanted to kind of right before we pivot to that. I always like to have a little bit of fun when I have a guest host on the show, and so there was a recent study of the Feel Good Index. Since today is going to be a lot of feel good music, so I kind of felt like I wanted to pull this one out. And so basically, they just did an assessment of the happiest songs in the world. Obviously, they're weighted towards English speaking, but I just wanted to see if maybe you had any guess at anything that might be on the list. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's like a top 10 of this feel good index. Any guess as to
Happy
what might
songs?
be?
I think part of you have to guess. Because I'm happy, right? You have to guess the Pharrell Williams, right?
That should be on here, but
it's saying it over and over again. I feel like
I don't have a date on this, so who knows if it ran it a little prior to that. But I'm
songs that make me happy. In my mind, Earth, Wind, and Fire. September is a very happy song, and I associate it with happiness.
Yes.
Not on your list.
No, and again,
not my list. From your reaction. All right.
You're in the right pocket there. Like that's kind of the right neighborhood of where these are.
Happy songs.
I'll just bring up the list, and then you.
All right. I struck out twice.
No. Listen, those were two phenomenal
you know what?
choices.
There are songs on this list that are on my running playlist, so I believe "Don't Stop Me Now" is a very happy song. Although it has a backstory about why Brian May didn't want to play it for a long time. Okay, I agree. Dancing Queen by ABBA, Good Vibrations. Okay, Beach Boys. Yes, that is a happy girl.
Yep.
Uptown Girl. Okay, Billy Joel, Eye of the Tiger. Yes, sure. I'm a Believer. Yep. Monkeys. Girls Just Want to Have Fun. I do you like that? I know all the songs at least. Girls Just Cyndi Lauper, Bon Jovi, Gloria Gaynor. Although it's probably not that recent. Walking on Sunshine. I would quibble with a couple of these, but.
I like yours better. Certainly, the Pharrell song should be on there. Like you said, it's literally in the title. And I don't know what.
Don't worry, be happy.
That would have been another good one. But again, who knows what science went into the Feel Good Index? But I just thought that would be a fun one to share. But listen, you know who else should be on that list is Fabiola Méndez. So let's get into some of her music here, and then bring her on the show. What we're going to kick things off here, as we often do, is like with a track that can kind of get you into the feel of the sound and of the, the overall vibe, and then we bring them on. So to kind of help us out here is the track Canción de Amor by Fabiola Méndez.
Canción de amor pa'l que se fue, pa'l que tiene que ocultar su soledad. Esto es una canción pa' quienes sueñan, que buscan más allá del fin del mar.
Fabiola Méndez is a Puerto Rican cuatro player, singer, educator, and Emmy-nominated composer focused on the exploration of culture and identity through storytelling. Her music is a blend of folk, Afro-Caribbean, and jazz, with the cuatro, a 10-string traditional guitar of Puerto Rico, as the lead. Recognized as the Latin Artist of the Year by the Boston Music Awards, Fabiola and her band have performed on national stages including the NPR Tiny Desk and the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. She is a recipient of the Quincy Jones Award, the Brother Thomas Fellowship, and the ASCAP Lucille and Jack Yellen Award. Fabiola is a Berklee College of Music alumni, having made history as the first graduate to play the Puerto Rican cuatro as their principal instrument. We'll bring this back up and then we'll bring her on the show. show, Fabiola Méndez.
I dare you not to bop. Right?
And I chose this particular song to lead it off because there's that plane in the beginning that I feel like your music just takes whoever's listening to it right to the Caribbean, right to this feeling, and just such a wonderful, wonderful experience to just kind of bathe in this sound. It's so lovely. So tell us a little bit more about these videos. These are all different like visualizers that you have on your YouTube channel that kind of help kind of paint a picture of each different track.
That's correct. So this song is also the opening track of my most recent album, Flora Campesina, which translates to peasant flora, but really thinking about the origins of this music, the folk music of Puerto Rico, the cuatro, and the stories that I want to share as a young, musician that also is based in Boston. So the experience of living in the diaspora, and how that translates into how I connect with my culture in a different way. And I had the amazing honor of working with Kenneth Salgado, which is an artist, painter, and he does a lot of wood carving art. So each track in the album has its own art that then we kind of digitalized and did a little bit of animation.
So fun.
And then also did some visual images, as you see the airplane, but then you see the airplane that's made of paper.
Yeah.
With the wood carving that he had done prior to that we digitalized. So it's a really it's a project that celebrates not only the music but also the visual arts and that original way of making graphic design, through the wood and translating that into paper.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And I heard you talk one time too about peasant, not necessarily in like a caste system, like peasant and noble, more as just from like the surrounding countryside kind of
Exactly.
more rustic, I guess.
Yes. So we use to describe this music, we call it música jíbara or música campesina. Campesina literally meaning peasant, but as you're saying, referring more so to the countryside, to the traditions of the farmers and the workers of the land that were the kind of creators of this genre of music, of the storytelling, the string instruments, the rhythms, and a lot of the compositions that are now part of our traditional music world in Puerto Rico.
And we're going to spend a lot of time on that cuatro, the instrument that you play, because there's so many very interesting elements to it to talk about. So let's stick here with this point. Initially, it was made by these farmers. There wasn't necessarily a guitar maker, a luthier, to make it for people to purchase. People were making their own, right?
That's correct. So if we go back to the 1600s, all the different Spanish instruments that were brought during the period of colonization in Puerto Rico were very much what influenced what we see as the cuatro, what we know as the cuatro nowadays.
I'm going to bring up a picture really quick of you holding yours.
Yes.
So the people can see.
So that is a modern cuatro, but back in the day, these instruments, as you mentioned, Philip, were made by the musicians themselves, we were maybe not even call them musicians, by the workers of the land that wanted to use music as a way to express, to create community. So looking at the guitars, the vihuelas, and these different European string instruments, including the violins and the violas, these farmers started just crafting their own. And there were different shapes. The instruments had different tunings depending on the regions of the island. But little by little, the cuatro started to become more popular, especially in the countryside areas of Puerto Rico. Named cuatro or called cuatro because they just put 4 strings on it at the beginning.
Even rudimentary Spanish for myself knew something was up there.
Exactly,
Marilyn,
cuatro, 4.
There are more, but there are more than 4 now. Right. So
exactly. So the instrument has evolved. So not only the shape of it, as I mentioned, there were different shapes, but what we know as the old cuatro or el cuatro antiguo used to have a shape kind of like a keyhole, like an old school keyhole where it's kind of squared and then rounded at the bottom.
Sure.
and they were 4 strings. But historians also believe that there were cuatros that had 4 single strings and cuatros that had 4 double strings, very similar to a mandolin nowadays. But then with the influence of American music, with access to the radio, and a lot of these musicians also being able to go from the countryside to the cities to play in the salons, to play music for the high society, the instrument started gaining more popularity. And also the musicians wanted the instrument to be even more elegant, to really, you know,
Sure.
be, I don't know, I guess like attract that kind of high society. So that's when the cuatro started changing its shape to what we saw in that picture, which is the modern cuatro, which is very, very similar to a violin. You know, you see, or a guitar, but you see the ears, as we call them, like on the sides.
Yeah, I'll bring it back up again.
Which really, you know, connects to that European string instrument kind of vibe. And then historians also believe that it wasn't until like the 1950s that we started seeing the 5 double string cuatros, which is what I play, which is the modern cuatro.
And is that, forgive me if I butcher this name, Ladislao Martinez?
That's correct. Ladislao Martinez.
Ladislao.
Yeah. We also call him Maestro Ladi.
My lingua blanca is failing me.
No, but you did really good. Really good. He was like a rock star of the cuatro, and he was one of the first to play on the radio and to be on television shows, and he is one of the first to have been playing a 5 double string cuatro, and he was so famous and so popular that everyone wanted to be like him.
Sure.
So then the 4 string cuatros and the 4 double string cuatros started losing popularity, and the 5 double string cuatro with that shape is the one that stuck, and that became the standard modern cuatro in Puerto Rican culture.
Do you only play the modern cuatro?
Yeah, I've actually never played an old cuatro. I've seen them at museums, and I know that some luthiers will make them if you request it, but it's not something that people are playing anymore.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's gonna lack the fullness of the sound. But yeah, go ahead, Marley.
You could bring it back.
Yeah.
You could. And do you have a cuatro that you own, one that you always play, or do you have multiple?
I have multiple. I mean, they're all 5 double strings, similar shape. But there's one that I have that's electric, and then the other ones that I have acoustic from different types of woods and have different resonances. So depending on the kind of project I'm working on. But the one I use the most for performing is the one in that picture, which is the one I have right here.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
I was intimidated when you played Music Fest. We didn't even mention that off the top. You played Music Fest on a free stage, which was like an insane opportunity.
Qué loco.
But I came up to you afterwards to just simply say hi and to, because I had been tagging you for that day of being like, don't miss this best of the fest opportunity. But I wanted to ask you if I could take a picture of the guitar, but I actually got intimidated. I was like, I don't want to like mess with anything. Like, she has people here who want to say hi to her. I'm just going to walk away and take the hello, and hopefully she'll come on the show. But it is such a beautiful instrument. It is like a work of art in and of itself.
It is. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so cool.
Have you tried to, you talked about woodworking. Have you tried to?
No, it's.
I just want to know how far do you go?
Yeah, no, I mean, I admire the work of luthiers, and actually we do need more, because there's a lot of master luthiers that are, older, and there's only a few from my generation that are picking up the craft. Sadly, this is not something that is taught in school or at universities, or that you can go to. Yeah, it's more like you go to one of these master luthiers and you learn. It's kind of this master and
apprentice,
master Jedi and young Padawan relationship, in which
That's
you just
fantastic.
learn by doing, and by looking at what they do. But thankfully, there's a couple of people from my generation, but not enough. I feel like, I don't know, maybe at some point I'll get into it. Right now I'm like really focused on like the performing aspect of things. But it is such so much technique and so much science. You have to also know the woods, like
Yeah.
each wood has its own qualities, and
Mhm.
and also what type of client you're working for. So for example, the luthier that makes my cuatros, he knows that I live in Boston, so it's
Mm.
what kind of woods can survive through the
The
seasons,
cold and the
and
different
and that
types
will
of
hold the
humidities, yeah.
pressure of the strings and everything and not crack with the first winter.
All the
Which are very
strings just go
harsh where you
wing.
are.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really a science in itself, and I admire them a lot.
Yeah. One last point on the quattro, or just the instrument of this kind of region of the world, because I do think for most of the viewers of this show, this is kind of new stuff for them. There is a Venezuelan quattro. There's a seis from Cuba. So, like, I just didn't know if there was a little bit more you could kind of sprinkle in there about these other. They're very different, but depending on what kind of region or country they're from.
Yeah, so we can think about it in terms of the evolution of the guitar throughout the Americas.
Sure.
So we have, the guitar that was originated in Italy, what we know as kind of the classical 6-string guitar. But then in each region of Latin America, especially, thinking of Latin America, you have these string instruments that are native to the place, that are representative of a lot of times of the country music and culture.
Sure.
So as you said, in Puerto Rico, we have our cuatro. We also have a tiple and a bordonnois, which are two other string instruments that we have, but are not as popular as the cuatro.
Mm-hmm.
In Venezuela, they have a cuatro that's very different. It's
Sure.
actually 4 single strings, and they're made of nylon, so it sounds a bit closer to what a ukulele would be,
Sure.
or would sound like. The one in Puerto Rico is steel string, so it sounds more like an electric or a mandolin because of the double strings.
Right.
But then in Cuba they have the tres, which sounds very similar to the cuatro. In Peru, they have the charango. In Chile, they have the guitarrón. In Panama, they have the mejorana, and they're all string instruments,
Sure.
different, amount of strings, different combinations, different tunings. But in the core, it's evolution of the guitar.
Yep.
They were, most of them, made in the countryside and are still played in the country regions or mountain regions of these countries. So it's really beautiful when you look at that, just how it's same with like the drums. If you think about drums
Sure.
too, right?
Yeah.
You have like I don't know what the original drum would be, I guess our heartbeat. But like there's so many different kinds of drums, like big and small and long and short, and it's the same with like the string instrument.
So true.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about it until you mentioned it, but like there's also going to be different timber available in all these different countries, so that will also impact the type of instrument you could make, because you only have what you have available in front of you. If you are decades ago, that was all you could work with. So
exactly,
that's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for spending some time on that. Let's get into the Fabiola story. So as we take this back to, you've been playing this instrument since 6. Your father had one. You picked it up and wanted to play it.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So, but in that time too, it's thought of as a folkier instrument, not necessarily something that a child would want to play that kind of music. It was more old-timey stuff, I guess, would be a way to say it. So how does that evolve for you there in the household?
Well, I think, I grew up listening to a lot of folk music of Puerto Rico and a lot of salsa too, and popular music, but the pride for our identity and our culture and our roots was, something that was celebrated in my house. And the fact that my dad played cuatro, that there was a cuatro at home, it made it, I guess, a bit more accessible for me. And my great grandmother used to host these events around the holidays that we call promesas de Reyes, which are these traditional celebrations around the Three Kings Day. Three Kings are like a huge tradition for us. I mean, we do Christmas, and then it's like, oh, the Three Kings came to bring presents to baby Jesus.
That's right.
So it's like this beautiful tradition that we have around January 6th, and people sing aguinaldos, and they do prayers, asking the Three Kings for their intercession, for whatever needs they have. So I grew up around that. So I would see a lot of cuatro players and hear a lot of traditional singers in these festivities. So not only in the albums that we had in my house and the stuff that I would see my dad do, but then also like family gatherings. And it was always something that would make me feel joyful and proud. And I think that's why I wanted to play that. Like I wanted to be part of that. But as you said, yeah, it wasn't really common for children to do it. It was a lot of older gentlemen, and not even girls or female women. It was mostly men, older gentlemen. So but I guess at the time, you know, you don't really think about that. So I'm like, oh, you want to play cuatro? Like, and my dad was like, okay, let's get you a cuatro teacher.
So cool though, because obviously that could have gotten squashed right there.
Yeah.
By a less progressive mind.
Yeah.
And then you wouldn't be on this. I mean, that's just so awesome though. That
did he know? Did he know it was being progressive, or was it just?
No, I think it was more like, let's do it. And it's a way that I can, like, my memories with my dad are so strong in terms of music, because he's the one that would sit with me every day to help me practice, and it really created this beautiful bond, you know. And even to this day, whenever I go do shows, like, you know, my dad is like, if I'm practicing it, if I go back home and I'm practicing, my dad's always like listening to what I'm doing. And he, you know, he was never able to pursue music beyond just take a couple lessons and stuff. Sure. So I feel like it's also like a dream that it's coming true through me, you know, for him as well. So it's really beautiful.
It is beautiful.
But I had a lot of situations in which I felt like, you know, the kids around me were like, why is Fabi playing cuatro? That's so lame.
Okay, so it wasn't cool.
Yeah, no, it wasn't cool at all. I mean,
started to try and think of like a corollary here, because I think a mandolin still would have a coolness factor here, because I think...
Would it be the banjo here?
I honestly think what came to mind to me was like accordion, like that you were going to suddenly pull out something like that. And I think if you were 6 or 7 years old, your peers would be like, what are you
pulling out a giant accordion?
Exactly. Yeah. Like that's something that I think it not only, like for us, it's even a whole like a whole specific ethnicity of like Eastern Europe and so on. But like you could see somebody saying like, yeah, I'm going to play this because it's, you know, what we play in my house, and everyone would be like, why aren't you listening to this other stuff? So like
the spoons.
Yeah.
You pull out the
spoons. Yeah. Or that twangy thing.
It's not going to bring the... But when I was listening to your songs, my first thought was, where was she born? That was because I had a couple of questions. Full disclosure. First was, how old is she? Because when I hear folk music and I'm hearing someone talk about mi pueblo, mi tierra, I'm like, well, this is someone who has a sense of distance and place, and I generally associate that with someone a little older. And then, like, I read about you. I said, she's in Boston. All right, but where were you born? Like, donde naciste? Like, you know, because these traditions don't just come out of, they come from somewhere. And I could hear Puerto Rico, and I'm not hearing Boston. No offense. Boston's lovely, but that wasn't what I heard first when I heard your music. So can you talk a little bit about where you were born? Talk about life in Puerto Rico.
So I was born in Caguas, Puerto Rico. Caguas is a town in the mountains, closer to the east side of the island, south of San Juan, actually, just directly south of the capital. I was raised, as I said, like listening to a lot of traditional music, and my family really taught me to love, you know, who I am and who came before me and know our history. So I had the opportunity of attending music school in Puerto Rico. So I started, as Philip mentioned, you know, when I was 6 years old with a private cuatro teacher. But once I was in middle school, I was able to join this music, this art school that was part of the Department of Education. So then I was taught how to read and solfege, music theory, and all of these other super helpful tools to, you know, be able to really make it to the next step as a musician. But there was always that love for the tradition and learning stuff by ear and playing in community centers and playing in, you know, just gatherings and festivals around the island. When I was in the, I think 8th grade, I was 13. I don't even know what grade you're in when you're 13, but when I was 13 years old, we recorded an album. Actually, I recorded an album with my teachers from my music school. And it was like an album of traditional cuatro songs, and I just wanted to like make an album. And my dad has always been super supportive, my mom too, and they were like, okay, let's just talk to your teachers and see if they know like someone that has a studio. And it was a very low budget album, but that made me be able to start gigging around the island. I started, performing in little plazas and festivals, and that's when I felt like I think I want to do this. Like I want to make this my living, and then again, my dad keeps coming to the picture. He brought a brochure from Berklee when I was when I was like 15. I didn't even know what Berklee was. But he did. The Berklee in Boston, for those that don't know, is not the Berklee in California, it's the Berklee College of Music. So he brought that, and he said, hey, they have this music camp for people 15, 16 and older. I don't know, would you want to audition? And I'm like, oh yeah, I do. I mean, I started going on the website every day. Like I was like going berklee.edu. I'm just like, oh my God. Oh, look at the studios. Oh, look at the facilities. Oh my God. So then I got a scholarship to attend the 5-week program, which is like a summer camp they do. And I came to Boston for the first time when I was 15. And I fell in love with the university. It was like being at Disney, everyone's a musician, people from all over the world. And I brought my cuatro, and everyone was so excited. It was a different experience than in Puerto Rico. Like, oh, why is she playing cuatro? That's so lame. Versus here, it was like, that's such a cool instrument. What is that? Oh
you just needed to find your cool plane.
Yeah.
Isn't there also like, so you're using like a flat pick on that thing? That's got to be hard to grab 2 strings, and you're probably impressing these other players who are using more of a finger picking style.
Yeah. It was really cool. And then, fast forward, I auditioned to the university and was blessed with a scholarship, and then I did my bachelor's in Berklee, and then I stayed in Boston. So that's why I'm in Boston. Not necessarily because I'm, I love Boston, but not because I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna move to Boston. It's like Berklee is there.
Right.
Porque tú encanta la clima allí, ¿no?
Sí, exacto. Exacto. Me encanta la nieve. No. Oh no.
No one goes to Boston for that reason.
No.
Can't get used to the snow. But
right.
Did you know to have a coat the first time you showed up, or were you like one of those people that like shows up and you go, oh, this is different?
Yeah, I had never seen snow in my life.
Sure, right. Why, how could you? Yeah.
The worst part was that I didn't know what a humidifier was. So my cuatro.
Oh, right.
Oh no.
Actually, as we were talking about.
This is why the wood. Yes.
No, I mean Puerto Rico's so humid.
Mm-hmm.
And my first winter came, and I took the cuatro out of the case one day, and the fretboard had a crack that took like 3 or 4 frets. I call my luthier, like, my cuatro's broken. He's like, do you have a humidifier? I'm like, what's that?
Yeah, but
okay, Fabi, we're gonna have to teach you how to live in
in not Caribbean climate.
Yes.
That's so funny, and not funny. It's funny now. I'm sure it wasn't funny.
Funny, haha.
Yeah.
No,
it was probably a very expensive lesson.
Yeah, and now every room in my apartment, I have humidifiers, and I have the little ones that you buy and put in the case. Like now I'm like over the top humidifying everything.
Yes. Everything gets humid. Yeah, we're spraying it with water bottles, everything. I have one more question, and then we'll move into a song to kind of move us into the next phase of things. But there had to have been, I would think, a crossroads moment for you as a young child who wants to be popular or liked and wanting to play this instrument that was preventing you, or not preventing you, but a hurdle to that. Was there ever a moment that you had to make that choice of like, I got to go this way or this way, and you chose that one?
Well, I think I always found a community that supported me, and that for me was in that music school.
That's
like there were other people that were my age that were playing cuatro.
Cool.
And having the support of family, and having, after I did that album when I was 13 and I started gigging, like it felt like, oh, I'm like progressing, like I'm growing as a young musician. So I guess I didn't really allow those thoughts of
Cool.
popularity in terms of like the mainstream, quote unquote,
right.
mainstream
Yes,
population.
peer pressure or clicky or
Yeah,
whatever.
it was more like I like what I'm doing. There's support,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm getting opportunities. Like things
Sure.
are happening. So let's keep going.
Yeah. Well, let me bring in a song here. I picked this one because it's one of my favorites, but also I think it puts on display your mastery in front of a crowd. So like it's Cielo Campesino, and it starts out pretty much not with a solo per se, but it's like just you and the guitar and the audience, and you can hear a pin drop. So I specifically chose this live version because you are just, everyone's on your every next note, and I think it's magical. So like I think this is so cool. So check out Cielo Campesino, Fabiola Méndez.
hermanos por un sueño abrazaban a la gente. Los Morales de repente saludaron al vecino.
In a few moments, they're going to show you the crowd that's in there. You would have thought this was an empty room with how quiet that was in the beginning, which I feel, so I was not a musician, I was in theater, but when you own the audience in that moment, it feels so powerful and awesome as a performer. That must have felt so good.
Yeah, that was a really special concert.
You can tell. The whole vibe is right there that this is going to be one of those ones where you talk about for a long time. You got to be so thrilled too that it got recorded and it sounded great too.
Yeah. We had like a very amazing sound engineer that we were working with for that tour. That was in, I believe that was 2023, I think, when we had just released, or 2024 maybe, when we had just released the album. So it was, one of the first times that we were performing that live.
Yeah, and honestly, you saw there a few of the shots of the crowd. You can see how much it means to them. Like, they're just into it. Because the other thing I think is about Caribbean music, it's very participatory. They probably want to get up and dance and sing along. And yet that always speaks to how much more powerful this was, that they wanted to just observe you perform.
Yeah, and that is something that I always like to incorporate, like, especially towards the end of shows.
Sure.
I always joke with the audience because I have a lot of non-Spanish speaking people that come to the shows, and I'm like, at this point, you're fluent in Spanish. You've been listening to 90 minutes of Spanish songs, and now I'm going to ask you to sing. And, I teach them little lyrics here and there. And but yeah, in that concert, it was, especially the first half, it was like very much like a formal concert where everyone's just like quiet listening.
Right, absolutely. And I think the other thing that's important to point out here is what a gorgeous voice. And you started out as an instrumentalist. You weren't even singing in the beginning.
Yeah, that's right.
That's so incredible that, like, that wasn't even part of the arsenal yet. And then it comes out just because you're so talented in that regard as well.
Yeah, I started singing in church.
Sure.
And then little by little, I started incorporating it into the performances with the cuatro, and I saw that it would connect with the audience in a deeper level, even if it was in Spanish. And, even if people couldn't understand the actual words, I think the voice has a very, very special power. Like all my musicians friends, we always joke about that. It's like whenever there's a vocalist, like it's gonna outshine anyone else, and it's not a matter of like chops or anything like that. It's more like the quality. It's human, you know. It has that power to really speak to the soul of people more than any other instrument could. So now I do, I don't know, 90% of the shows are with me singing, and then I also always like to do instrumental songs as well. And
Sure, absolutely.
90% now. So take me back to when you first decided to incorporate your voice with this music. How did you come to decide, all right, I'm going to now open up my mouth and sing as well?
It was when I was at Berklee, actually. I started doing summer gigs around Boston, and I would always sing songs like En Mi Viejo San Juan and Piel Canela, which are popular, you know, from the Latin American songbook. And then I realized, as I said, I realized how, I don't know, like powerful it was. Like I would be playing, I don't know, in front of, like in downtown Boston, and I would be playing instrumental music, and there would be some people having coffee and listening, and a lot of people strolling by, and then suddenly I would start singing, and then like a little crowd would gather to listen, and then I would go back to instrumental music, and then people would continue their way, and I'm like, oh, there's something about the voice that's drawing people in, so I'm gonna do more and more of that.
Sure.
Almost a decade of not opening your mouth while you're playing this gorgeous instrument, and then you
I mean, I was doing it at church. I was doing it like at church. I was singing and playing. So, and I always say that like playing at church for any musician, it's like one of the best ways of really putting yourself out there and getting that calle, as we call it, like really losing the fear, because it's when you play in church, it's not about you. You know, people are not looking at you. It's more about like the overall message and what you're doing in terms of praising or whatever it is. But you really like, at least for me, I felt like it was kind of a way of, there's all these different songs in different keys, different rhythms, different grooves that I'm exposed to, but I don't have to be stressed out about, you know, oh, if I made a little mistake here and there. It's like, oh, I'm just going to play, and let's just jam and play, and I'm going to sing. And at first I would play what I was singing. Like I had to do the same ta 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 ta.
Because it's hard to do. But yes, it's also very difficult.
I started, okay, now I'm going to do this. I'm going to sing, and I'm going to do this pattern that was very repetitive, because that's the only thing I could do. As I'm singing, and then little by little I was able to do more and more, and now I've come to the point which I'm very proud of, that I can play and talk.
Oh wow.
So sometimes
you kind of have to split your brain, like you have to tell your hands to do one thing and your mouth to do something else entirely.
Yes.
It's the old pattern. Like, which I cannot do. Yes. Adding my yeah, exactly. That's why it was so surprising to me that you started not singing and then to introduce it. That's superpoderes. It's like a superpower to be able to do two things at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and to do it so well. Not everybody's supposed to sing.
But it takes a lot of practice, and still there are certain patterns that are challenging to do. For that song, for example, like I wanted to do in the second verse, I wanted to add this pattern, and as I'm singing da 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 da, so it's like these very different. There's one that feels like it's in 3, and there's one that feels like it's in 2.
Wow.
So I had to practice so much, like very slow. Da, 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 dee, dee, doo. And just like really break it up. Sure. And now, you know, I'm able to do it, but it takes a lot of practice.
Well, this is a segment of the interview that I will be saving for my daughter, who is learning to play a clarinet, who does not want to practice. The only way you get there is no...
no shortcut.
La única manera, la único camino para hacer is you have to practice over and over.
Always just practice. To make it
hard.
second nature. But so yeah, there's moments like this where we get super nerdy into like the music
Sorry.
theory and no. Listen,
I have
I say some
brought my
people.
glasses and my nerddom.
Some people ask me, they're like, "What have you learned? Like, what would you have changed if you could go back to the beginning?" And the only thing I would change is in the beginning, avoided nerdy because I wasn't sure. I wanted to know it, but I wasn't sure if the audience would ever want to know. And as it like started to just happen naturally, all the comments were about why did you stop talking about that? That was getting really interesting. So I've gone the other way now, and I make sure and encourage we get nerdy. And then the other
Well, if you invited me, you were on board for nerdy. Because
right. And then listen, you're also invited for this portion here because the other thing that we never avoid is the conversations around some more important topics too. Obviously, it is about music, but this is also topics that are important and topics that you sing about with Puerto Rico and its lack of independence or its lack of kind of self. They can't control their own destiny in some ways. And I kind of wanted to bring this about because I think there's a lot of points in here that the average person, average American, doesn't fully understand or appreciate. And just starting with the point of it was a Spanish colony from the time of Columbus. And after the Spanish-American War, it becomes a part of the United States, and there was never a vote about it. There was never anything that said if you were all okay with that. And yet stuck with this as a future with no representation in Washington. So it's like there's a lot there to kind of unpack, and I just wanted to give you an opportunity to share kind of your take on all of that.
Yes, so we have been a colony for more than 500 years, as you said. Prior to that, it was the indigenous population, the Taínos, that were there, but it's been so long that colonialism has really shaped the way that we perceive ourselves, that way that we do our own local politics, the way that we interact with one another, and the way that we believe that we can either be self-sufficient or not be self-sufficient because of just the lengths that we have been codependent on some other countries. So part of what I want to celebrate in this music is really that power that we have within our culture and within our music, our traditions, and the fact that, as you said, our land doesn't even belong to us. So what we can really feel like belongs to us are these untangible or intangible elements of who we are. So what we say, how we speak, how we make our food, and so through the music, it's also like trying to create this space to reflect on some of those things, and to also, as you said, now that I'm in Boston, to be able to educate and connect with so many other stories of colonized peoples, and of people that come from in this country, but come from very difficult situations and stories, and create that space to feel the power and to celebrate, at the end, to celebrate what really unifies us, which goes beyond all the divisions and all the labels that we have created, and all the borders that we have created, and all everything that we have created, because none of that exists. I mean, this is Earth. It's just land and ocean. I mean, everything else is just we've created it, right?
Oh, 100%.
And it's everywhere. I mean, even the choice of the flag, the bandera of Puerto Rico. Like people don't think about the change of the color, the type of blue that is in the flag. That was not always the color, but it's just kind of assumed, well, this is what it is. It looks just like the American flag. Well, no, it did not.
Yeah.
And yet it's a source of pride. A lot of people still, Puerto Ricans, will display it proudly and sing the songs. But I wanted to bring up this point because I learned about it through my company because of Hispanic American Heritage Month that's going on right now. We put out little notes about different things that highlight not all the positives or all the celebratory stuff, some of the bad stuff too. And I learned about La Ley de la Mardosa, which was the law that basically prevented the displaying of the flag. So you couldn't even display your own flag in your own country or
it was a gag law,
or sing the patriotic songs. And that wasn't 1800s. This was 1948, and we just simply saw it happen in Germany, and we finally fought to end that war, but yet we were going to go and do some of the same exact things to people who were supposed to be connected to us. Anyway, I just found that to be shocking that I never learned about that in school when I went. And so now to have that be a reality that is
Wait,
out
did you
there.
learn about Puerto Rico when you were in school? Because
We did, but not this type of stuff. And it's just like, this is the important stuff that people need to know about. And to kind of realize that someone like yourself, who's putting out all this beautiful music and this stunning talent, is also connected to this country that isn't being given a fair shot. And so to think about now that as even more to rise up and overcome, to celebrate you even more because of that, but also be aware of it so that we can be part of the change and not let that perpetuate. Anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, that it was all a way of trying to suppress any type of nationalist or, independent movement. Because when the Spanish American War ended, the independence movement in Puerto Rico was huge. Like more than 50% of the population wanted to fight for, for freedom of the island. But how can you silence that? It's like, okay, we're going to create this law that's going to prohibit any type of gathering, any type of nationalist song or flag or anything like that. And then of course, with the financial support that the United States provides, it's like, now we're really going to make you feel like you depend on us and that we're good to you. Like, we're good to you. We're giving you money.
Aren't you so lucky?
Right, exactly. You are so lucky. And and then in 1917, you have U.S. citizenship. Oh yeah, of course, because we're gonna go fight your war. But it's like, but now you're so lucky, right? And nowadays it's shifted, right? So now the majority of the population is really fighting for Puerto Rico's statehood, which I'm sure that you have seen. Whenever that topic comes, it's more than 50% of the population is pro statehood.
Sure.
And what I always say is like, it's hard when you're down there, because when you're down there, you're in like the little bubble.
Sure.
But when you come to the US and you understand how things work here, you're like, I don't think the US would ever want that. Like, in terms of government politics, it's not like an economic or a political, like, I don't see how that would be a move that would be something that they would want to do. So I'm like, you guys are just kind of blinded. Like, you're just like, yeah, we want to be a state, but if they don't want us, then you're not going to get it. It's not about your voice. It's never been about your voice. So that's something that, we struggle with to this day. So that's, and it creates a lot of division, as you can imagine. And just like it does in this country, right? Like the different points of views and experiences. And that's how the ones in power can stay in power if we're divided. So.
No, that's very true. And that's some of the work that you're doing, Marilyn, here as those kinds of topics, on a, different kind of scale, larger and smaller, here in the Lehigh Valley.
Intento. I try, right? It's to try and help people understand we are more similar than we are different. I can listen to Fabiola talk about history of Puerto Rico, and there's not a lot different from the history of Black people in this country. They are parallel stories. Now, in the Lehigh Valley, do we always understand that we are living similar stories and have the same? No, we don't. It's unfortunate, but yes, it's very much where I spend most of my time thinking about how do we make this better for all of us, because there's more than enough for all of us to do well, and that does not require Fabiola to not recognize the history, the very rich history. We can have it all.
Yeah.
And it would make for a better party. It really, and not to kind of go on a tangent, but I started to learn to speak Spanish in like 2019, and your world just gets larger with diversity and being able to understand something of what someone else is saying. It's funny, this morning my daughter was saying, I don't, it was my husband actually was saying, I don't think Bad Bunny's very political. And I said, oh, then you don't speak Spanish. You've let me know that. It's all very political. And I was telling my daughter, I said, existence for a lot of people is political.
Mhm.
And don't let anyone make you think that's a bad thing. It's a, there's a history here, and it's a recent history. And we're in it right now, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But, politics is what some people say, like that thing over there that they don't want to be bothered with, but it is very much a part of what I hear you sing. It's there. It's in everything. So I don't know.
And thank God for the arts.
Sure.
Because they provide a space to talk about some of these things, and they won't feel as harsh or as divisive. It's very much like, oh, I'm gonna groove and then I'm gonna talk about something that we should all be thinking about,
Right? Isn't this the getting the spinach in the food? You will be doing this soon enough when you're starting to like sneak the healthy stuff in, sneak the ideas in here and there.
And so kind of a related topic, which brings us back to the music and some of the things like you had talked about, important to talk about. You have an album, Afro-Riqueña, because an added element for you is you are a Black heritage from Puerto Rico, which I think adds to a different layer of things as well for you. And then this particular album, you were bringing in, if I got it right, poetry from women who had written things about what it means, and then you set it to music.
That's correct. Yeah, I did that album as every project that I have developed has been connected to my own journey.
Sure.
I use the arts as a way to understand myself and those around me and relate and explore. So that was in a moment of my life that I was really contemplating my identity and thinking about race, which is something that in Puerto Rico we don't want to talk about. So because we are so much identified with our ethnicity of being Puerto Rican, being Caribbean, being Antillean, and having the influence of European, indigenous and African cultures, and yes, we're all a happy family, kumbaya. But then
I heard you mention one point, sometimes a Latin person will say to you, let's just dance the salsa and it'll be okay.
Yeah. And a lot of people, I would say, like, I'm Black. No, you're not Black. You're brown. You're trigueñita. And I'm like, but what's wrong with saying negra? Soy negra. And there's still a lot of people that have issues with the word negra or negro in Spanish, and they'd rather just kind of like say like cinnamon or and I'm like, what's wrong with that? The perception that Black is bad is very much in our culture as well, and we don't necessarily want to acknowledge that. And when the murder of George Floyd happened here in the States, that's when I really started questioning, how is this related to our own culture? Because here the movement seemed to be stronger and people would talk about it. But back there, it's like, no, we're not racist. Racism doesn't exist here. But I would hear all these things when I was little, and especially every time that I would say, oh, yo soy negra. No, tú no eres. Or if not, they would say negrita. like bringing the little, kind of,
because everything small is cute.
Like, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Well, Phil, I had this experience when I was running for judge. I was actually at the Puerto Rican Day Parade, and I was walking around, and when I encounter someone who speaks Spanish, habla español. Es un señal de respeto, no? So I was speaking Spanish to this gentleman, and I said, soy negra, and he said, no. Well, you shouldn't say it. I was caught off guard. I said, well, last time I checked, I'm pretty sure that's, but I'm, new enough to speaking Spanish where I was thinking, did I say the wrong word? Did I say no? It really kind of shook me to have someone say to me, no, you should not call yourself negra. And I was like, morena? Can I say that? Like, which word am I permitted to use? But I mean, I think it's a good question. When I think about Latin music generally, the women that I see do not look like you. And you know this, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's a very really, they look like Shakira, they look like J-Lo, they'll look like Karol G. They don't generally have dark skin like Celia Cruz. And so I'm so excited to see you here. I'm so excited to see you kind of standing in the fullness of who you are, and you're not running away from that in any way. But how do you take Latin music and how it's kind of presented to the world, and where do you fit in all of that?
We have
That's a big question. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I feel like we have to create that. We have to create what we want to see, because it does, as you're saying, it doesn't exist. And there's this perception of beauty that comes, especially with women all around the world, right? I mean, men don't necessarily have to worry about that as much. I mean, yes, maybe in mainstream and in television and stuff like that, but
no, you're totally right about that. If you just look at even television, there's 16 different definitions of what a male could be successful as. And
but a woman is like, you need to wear certain makeup, you need to wear heels, you need to have your hair straightened, you need to wear like dresses, and you need to be skinny or not too skinny, or, you know, and there's all these different perceptions. And then in terms of the skin color, and all of that, and as you said, like, I think of, you know, the Latina stereotype, and it's Shakira, or you know, and it's been something that people haven't talked about enough, and that's why it's so important that there's so many of us that are doing stuff.
Sure.
Very powerful stuff in the arts and in many other areas.
Yeah.
And that we create that space, because it doesn't exist yet.
Absolutely.
A lot of work to do.
Yeah, and let me bring in a song. So I have Dedicatora. Do I say that right?
Dedicatoria.
I might have spelled it wrong. But if you want to give this a setup, but this is one of the tracks off of that album.
Yes, Dedicatoria translates for dedication, and it is inspired on a poem by Black Puerto Rican Ángela María Dávila.
So here is Dedicatoria.
A mi abuela, la fundadora de la ternura, a mi madre, fuente de vida inagotable, a Silvia y a Julia por la canción interminable, a Lolita Lebrón por la fiereza.
One thing I wanted you to touch on with this one is you did such a beautiful thing by making sure that you went and treated the copyright, if you will, properly with these. Some of them are alive poets and some of them have passed, but you went to the families or the trusts or whatever to make sure that the proper treatment was there. And so, like, I don't see how any of them would have thought this was anything short of awesome, but you still made sure you went and did it the right way, if you will, but also to make sure that they were highlighted in the way that honored their kind of legacy.
Yeah, especially because the poets that I picked, you know, to put music into their work aren't as well known as the white Puerto Rican poets. So I really wanted to make sure that if I'm celebrating Blackness within Puerto Rican culture, and I'm going to celebrate poets and music and all of that, it's like I need to really bring their names to the front. Yeah,
it's so cool. People need to check out obviously the entire catalog, but this particular album I think does such a unique. It's like a piece of art, in addition to being something to sonically just put on while you're enjoying coffee or something like that. But like, it's like more than just the music. It's something to kind of pay attention to.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're learning Spanish, I will say this as someone who listens to a lot of people who speak Spanish sing. I can actually understand everything you're saying. Your enunciation and is just, for a Spanish learner, not all Spanish singers are the best. And I think you are very high on the...
Thank you. I'm glad. Yes.
So one other question I have to kind of wrap out this section here is going back to Berklee and being the first person to ever graduate there as a cuatro as their primary instrument. Like, that has to feel pretty incredible. Like, how was that moment for you that as that starts to become a reality, that you're breaking brand new ground there?
You know, I feel so honored to have that, I guess, accolade, because I'm just like this girl that came with her cuatro and, I wanted to learn jazz and see how I could incorporate that language into my music. And then it ended up being like, oh, no one had done that before. So for me, it's still like, oh, that happened. And that's significant. Oh my God.
Totally.
Wow. Yeah. How blessed am I?
Did you know going in?
I knew that I knew that no one had played cuatro. I mean, the Puerto Rican cuatro. There was a friend actually that played Venezuelan cuatro when I started at Berklee, but it was a little challenging because there was, no cuatro teachers. So I had to study with guitar players and teach them a little bit. This is the tuning of the instrument. And then they would, okay, so this is how you do that and this. And we had to adapt some of the assignments and stuff like that. But it was so cool because learning from a musician that didn't necessarily have the context of the tradition, which meant that they had this like wide, open mind about what I could do. It was they would challenge me in ways that I would have never thought, oh, why don't you like do this, or like you could do this chord. And I'm like, oh, I feel like if I had studied with guitar players, it would have stayed with like the rules and the way that you play that you're supposed to play the cuatro. Well, so a lot of that translates to the music I do now.
I had this note here that I heard you either talk about this in a different interview, where someone encouraged you to play like one of the bass strings and then other strings up top, like to almost hit 3 at a time, because it was going to play a chord or something like that. And it was like a moment where you were just like, this is blowing my mind that you're looking at it in a whole new way.
Yeah, like trying to do chords like a pianist because of the tuning of the cuatro, like doing like trying to do if you were playing 2 keys right next to each other, which on the guitars are like, you have to do something like super wide fingered to be able to play 2 notes that are consecutive. But with the tuning of the instrument, they're like, oh, you could kind of do that. They're like, that's what we call cluster in music, which is when you're playing notes that are consecutive at the same time as a chord. So yeah, and that's something that like I feel like a cuatro player wouldn't have thought of that. That's kind of like a very progressive guitar and kind of way of looking at things.
Yeah, to just have some fun here, I did find this. Apparently, this webpage is still out there and active. This is from your Berklee concert in 2018.
Oh my goodness!
Look
with
at
a
this.
beanie and long hair.
You're such a college emo kid.
Yeah.
You've been wearing glasses for a while.
Wow.
There you are. 2018. Fabiola.
That event has passed. Good to know, guys.
Yeah. Can't buy tickets to that one. Good luck. Now, I know we've gone a little bit long here, but would you still be able to perform something today for us?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
I have my cuatro here.
Oh, it's so exciting. So I'm going to take Marilyn and I off screen so that you can kind of have full center stage, and anything you want to do to kind of like set the stage, and then we'll just bask in the glory of Fabiola Méndez.
Perfect. All right. I'm going to play a traditional song from Puerto Rico. This is called Aguinaldo Jíbaro. Ay, lole, lolay, lolay, la lolela, flora campesina con
guiros tambores, flora campesina con guiros tambores, de luz y colores prende la colina. El ritmo domina el mágico Edén y exalta también cadencia y paisaje. Cada paraje de mi Boriquén, en cada paraje de mi Boriquén. Flora campesina, ritmo vegetal, como un festival que no se termina. La alegría germina en frutos también, de lejos se ven músicos cantores, regalando flores a mi Boriquén, regalando flores a mi Boriquén.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was such a treat. Well, thank you again for performing. So, what can we help kind of promote here? Like, we've got, obviously we just came through the festival season. There's lots of good stuff out there, but anything we can promote for coming up in the fall here or the turn into the new season?
So my albums are available on all digital platforms.
Excellent.
I have
I'll
Flora
bring up your site
Campesina,
while you're chatting.
Afroriqueña, yes. Al Otro Lado del Charco, which is a more jazzy album. Tomorrow we're celebrating a year from our Tiny Desk concert release. So you can check that out on YouTube
Right.
under my name, Fabiola Méndez. And we're actually taking a little break because I am 8 months pregnant.
Yes, again, thank you so much for
so
pushing through that one.
Really excited for this new chapter. I'm composing a lot of music that's connected to this new chapter and this new experience. But I'll be back on the road in April. So we have a couple of shows. The only one that's there on the website, which you can already get tickets for, is in Florida. That will be in May next year. But we have a couple more that we are kind of cooking.
Okay, stay
so once
tuned.
everything is confirmed, it would always be available on my website. So people can follow on FabiolaMendezMusic.com as well as social media, Fabiola Méndez Music, where I always share, the calendar once everything gets confirmed and my baby is safely in planet Earth.
But if you would like me to start the letter writing campaign for you to be at a certain Super Bowl halftime show, I am willing to put.
So that stems from for those of you who haven't seen the Bad Bunny Tiny Desk, go check it out. Which you should go check it out because you will notice a one Fabiola Méndez playing the cuatro on that performance.
Yes. The cuatro, the tiple, and the bordonua. You'll see the 3-string instruments. The small one is the tiple, the big one's the bordonua.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had the amazing pleasure of playing there. So we'll see if, I don't know.
Yes, and he was just announced for the Super Bowl. So we all got to put that juju in the universe so that we can get you there.
Yes.
So cool. And one last thing is more of a favor to me. We need to translate your next favorite band. Is it tu Próxima Banda Favorita?
Sí, eso es correcto.
Ish?
Tu Próxima Banda or tu Próximo Grupo? But
es correcto.
Favorito.
I want to make sure I get it right. So
es lo mismo, ¿no?
Sí, grupo o banda, sí.
That's the lovely thing about Spanish is you find that there are many ways to get to the same thought, but also in Spanish, there are many thoughts I can have that have no
Can't translate.
Translate.
Can't-
Yeah.
It frees your mind.
It's a better language. I'm just saying, like, in terms of expressing ideas and having ways to communicate, it gives me more than in English you just say I hope, but there's like a whole subjunctive tense.
Well, there's also
different things. Yeah.
The one that blew my mind was where there's like I am, yo soy, and I am estoy, where it's like one's more permanent and the other one's more of a moment in time, and it's like that's so poetic. Like that would be way more powerful to have those, whereas we just have I am, and you have to figure it out on context.
Yes.
So,
like something that's there versus
for singing, it is far superior language. So like I think it just sounds beautiful. And Fabiola, thank you so much for joining us today, for sharing stories and for performing.
Gracias por tenerme. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Buena suerte.
Gracias.
Yes. It'll be fine. It's going to be wonderful.
Yes, I'm excited.
It's fun. It'll be more fun like after. But I would say enjoy this time right now. Mm-hmm. Because you have control over where she is.
Oh yeah,
and you can
everyone says that. It's like, when she's a newborn, when she's an infant, it's gonna be so much easier than when she's a toddler and can walk. And then when they have their own opinion and can say it. So yeah.
But then at 6, they can pick up the cuatro and you can teach.
Yes,
exactly. Now I'm looking forward to this new experience.
Yeah,
so thank you so much for the wishes. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And again, thank you for all of this wonderful music and the other, kind of things that you, fight for. I think that's all just part of the incredible, art and experience that you're putting out there for people.
Seguimos. We keep going. Thank you.
Thank you, Fabiola. Marilyn.
Yes.
How lovely was that?
Oh, she is so adorable.
Stunning.
Absolutely. I just want to pinch her little cheeks.
I know. I keep smiling, and then there's also these other more deep parts that I'm like, now I'm like, want to rise up and, revolution and all this fun stuff, and then also dance the salsa at the same time.
Yes, she is wonderful. I thank you. I know it's always hard with me because I'm far too busy. But I always appreciate when you like knock on my door and, hey, can you come out?
Come out and play, Marlene. We want to have fun.
Yes, come out. We're doing things that are interesting. So that I was able to say to my mom, like, do you see this woman behind Bad Bunny? Because my mom knows Bad Bunny.
Yep.
And she's like, how would you get to talk to that person? I was like, I have no good explanation for this. But I will be doing it because,
That's so awesome.
Really
and then now it's out there. People can watch this on demand. So thank you for tuning in, whether it was live or on demand. And hopefully, we can continue to bring you, more next favorite bands in coming weeks.
Yes. Thank you. Do you need anything else from me?
No, we're good.
All right.
All right, Phil, let's say goodbye to everybody.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Your Next Favorite Band. We'd like to sincerely thank Fabiola Méndez for an incredible journey through her own personal story, that of the cuatro in the Caribbean and South American countries, as well as kind of the importance of understanding kind of the history of Puerto Rico itself. And then obviously all of her music, just absolutely amazing. And she was able to perform live today, just takes your breath away just about how talented she is. So there'll be links in the show notes to her webpage, the social media, YouTube channel, all this stuff. Please check it out. Give it a like and a follow. You're going to not regret it. And anytime you get a chance to see her perform live, you're not going to want to miss it. As always, our hope here is to bring you your next favorite band. If you tuned in because you already knew who Fabiola Méndez was, thank you very much. Like we just said, we hope that you liked what you heard and what you saw, that you might give us a like and a subscribe and a follow so that we can bring you your next favorite band in a coming week. Your next favorite band might already be out there. NextFaveBand.com and our YouTube channel at NextFaveBand both have all of our prior interviews completely indexed and cataloged and It's out there. It's over 186 episodes at this point. So if you want some guidance, some curation of what we recommend you check out, drop us a line. We'd love to help you out with that. Give you 1 or 2 or 700 to watch. That would be lovely. And if you have any recommendations on who you think our next favorite band should be, let us know. We'd love to check them out. Hope to see you at a live show soon. And we're going to go out on one more track from Fabiola Méndez. Hope I am continuing to not butcher these too badly. Here is the track Ala en la Altura.
Yo tengo en la serranía una finca bien sembrada, desde malanga morada, ñame, plátano y yautía. Es porque al salir el día seguida cojo el arado, ya el terreno preparado, señores, yo lo cultivo y así de feliz yo vivo mejor que un adinerado. Here we go. Ay, qué rico, qué afortunado, yo vivo aquí mejor que un adinerado. Again. Ay, qué rico, qué afortunado, yo vivo aquí mejor que un adinerado. Por estufos un fogón que yo aguijono con leña. Como mi casa es pequeña, no tengo televisión. Y en mi estrecha habitación yo vivo cual abogado. Y escucho en el techado, señores, a la paloma. Y yo vivo allá en la loma mejor que un adinerado. Coro. Ay, qué rico, qué afortunado, yo vivo aquí mejor que un adinerado. Ay, qué rico, qué afortunado, yo vivo aquí mejor que un adinerado. Un hacho de tabonuco yo tengo para alumbrarme, para mi finca cuidarme, también tengo un perro tuco. Y yo no conozco el truco del aire acondicionado, pues la natura me ha dado esa brisa fresca y pura. Y yo vivo allá en la altura mejor que un adinerado. Ay, qué rico, qué afortunado, yo vivo aquí mejor que un adinerado. Ay, qué rico, qué afortunado, yo vivo aquí mejor que un adinerado. Y en mi casa de madera gran lujo yo no poseo, porque vivo mi deseo lejos de la carretera. Y mi esposo y compañero me brindan mucho cuidado. ¿Qué importa si se ha acabado el petróleo?